Hello, welcome to another Outlook session with FXGiants. Today we're going to be looking at Euro USD, GBP USD, gold, and US oil. So without wasting time, let's jump into our charts. First pair we'll start with is Euro USD and we'll be analyzing from the monthly time frame downwards. As we can see here, Euro USD has tapped into a key area, a key support zone. 2 weeks ago we saw a massive rejection from that zone, but 3 weeks ago rather. But as at 2 weeks ago, we had another bearish candle that invalidated this bullish rejection pattern that formed there. As at the close of last week, we still had a little rejection from that zone. But looking at it from the monthly time frame, we do not have a strong bullish bias yet. Although this zone is still valid as price has not broken below it. We slide down lower to see if we can see anything clearly. Here on the weekly time frame, we can still see a bearish engulfing pattern that occurred last week closed as a bearish engulfing pattern, but we are still failing to break below these short-term lows that were created. These lows that were created here. We want to see a clear break below these lows to see if price will continue lower. But at the moment, we'll bear in mind that this zone where we are is a valid support zone, and price can still react to the upside from it. Let's go down to the 4 hours time frame to see what we can denote. So looking at it on the 4 hours time frame, we can see that price broke below this zone here. Upon breaking below the zone, we had a retest and a massive sell-off, taking liquidity from this low. We still have this low here which has not been tapped into yet, and we can see that we had some rejections as at Friday from this particular area. So what we want to see now, we want to see a rejection from this zone, then a continuation to the downside possibly, because price, all of these bullish movements still looks like a retracement. It looks like a retracement on the lower time frame. So what we'll be looking out for first is to see a reaction from this zone marked out here, and possibly a sell continuation. And if we have a break above this high, we're going to be looking for a break and retest above this shaded zone up here, which connotes this high. Once we have a break above this resistance, we may see it act as a support, and price may come for this point here. This is about 1.06147 region. Price may come back for that zone, but at the moment we are still seeing some bearish patterns forming. We're going to wait to see how Monday goes, then we will know what to look out for. But this is going to be what we'll be expecting, a sell possibly, and if that fails, then we're going to look for a buy up to this zone marked up here. So let's move to GBP USD. Looking at GBP USD on the monthly time frame as well, we can see that price has been in some sort of a range. It has been in some sort of a range. We came back to this resistance area here and sold down back into the support zone. So far, we have not seen any bullish pattern form on the monthly time frame yet. So let's slide lower to see if we can see anything. So here on the weekly time frame, we can see that we had a break of structure here. This low was broken and we had a nice retest at that area. Upon the retest, we had a bearish pattern which has pushed lower to break this low and has taken this low as well. But we have failed to break below this low with a body, as you can see here. This is just a week. We had a week, then as at Friday, as at last week, we had another week, but we are failing to break below that region, which is quite scary and at the same time understandable, because price is in a key zone, a key support zone. So we want to be careful what we do at this zone yet. We want to see clarity before we decide what to do. So let's move lower to the 4 hours time frame. Maybe we'll find something there. Alright, so when we look at it from the 4 hours time frame, we can see that we had a break of structure here. These are all micro structures on this time frame. we had a break of structure here, and price has gone back to retest that zone, but we have not seen any bearish signal yet to confirm a sell continuation. So we want to see how price develops on Monday, then we'll know if we should continue to look for sells or look for buys. Let's go to 1 hour time frame to see it clearly. So we can see this was a support now turned resistance. If we see a good sell pattern form here, we're going to be looking for a sell, taking out this low possibly, and to still bounce back into that major support zone. But if we see a break above this region, we're going to be looking for buys and targeting this major high here, this high at let's say 1.23254 level. But still yet, we want to see how price develops on Monday. Then based on what we have just discussed, we are going to take our trade. Let's move quickly to gold. All right, looking at gold from the monthly time frame, you can see that the whole of this red line here is a support, is a resistance turned support. Price has come back into that region, and that we are still respecting that zone. So let's go lower to get clarity. All right, on the weekly time frame, you can see that price has been reacting off a major key zone, which is a support zone here. You can see it here and here. Price came back to the third time, and we still had some bullish momentum there. Price pushed back into that zone, but we can see a little rejection at that point yet. So this is a key zone. Let's go lower to see what we can see. All right, so on the daily time frame, you can see that on Friday closed with a massive rejection at that zone. But if you slide lower, we want to see this high where I marked with this black line taken out first before we can consider going bullish. If we see this high taken, and this red line above signifies we're just trying to mark out this key zone here, this previous support which turned to resistance. So the whole of this zone here, price can still come back into this zone, and we may see a sell continuation from this zone. We see a sell continuation from this zone. But in case we don't get a sell continuation from that zone, if we break above this level here, I'm going to be looking for buys, and I'll be targeting this point as my TP. That's going to be about 1.1878.41. This can be TP1, 2, 3, and TP4. But we want to see how price reacts at this region upon this retracement first before we can decide anything. We should also take note of this zone here. We have a zone somewhere here. Let's mark it out at this point. If you look down to the left, you would see that this was a support which can now act as a resistance. So in case price doesn't get to this high, price can react from this support which is now a resistance. If price reacts from there, we can still look for sell opportunities. But above all, as long as we don't break above this high marked out with this black line, price still looks bearish. But bear in mind that we have hit a major zone on the higher time frame, a major support zone on the higher time frame. All right, let's move to US oil and see what's happening there. So on the monthly time frame, you can see on US oil that we had a massive rejection last month. US oil closed with a bearish pattern on the monthly time frame. So let's move down to the lower time frame to see how it looks like there. So we'll start with the weekly time frame. You can see that US oil has been overall bearish this past few weeks. Judging by the formation of the candles here, it has been overall bearish. Last week tapped into a particular zone, and we had a massive rejection from that zone. Let's go to the daily and look at it clearly. All right, so on the daily, this is the resistance zone here marked out with this gray rectangle. So you can see that upon the tap into this support zone here, price reacted from there. But we are failing to break below this support zone marked out with this black trend line here. You can see it acting as a support here. Price tapped into it, and we had a rejection there. I want to take this bullish rejection as a retracement on the lower time frame, but let's slide lower to see it clearly. All right, so this is that resistance where price reacted off, bounced upon this support, but we are failing to break it. If you look at this very clearly, you can see that we have a support here which acted as a resistance as price has come into that zone. So price can react off this zone that I've marked out with this black trend line. That is around 107 points. And if price doesn't react from this region, price can still retrace back to this previous resistance marked up here. But as long as price does not break above 112.60, we remain bearish. Our bias remains bearish until price breaks above this zone. But look, judging it from the higher time frame, it all looks bearish, and it's possible that we may see some sell from these points. And if we don't get it from these points, we can expect a sell at most from somewhere here, because we have this zone here. If you look to your left, you can see that we had the previous zone here, so price can still push back to this level and react off. But overall on US oil, our bias remains bearish. So that's going to be it for today. In the course of the week, we are still going to review this and see how price has developed. Then we take more trades based on this analysis. Do not if you love this analysis, do not forget to like our pages. We are on all social media platforms, and you can like this on YouTube as well and share. Thank you and see you soon.